All right, we got a good one for you today. Donald Trump just said what a lot of people have known for years. The European Union, it was created to screw America. Maybe not exactly, but let's talk about it. It's not just political rhetoric, it's history. The EU wasn't built as some noble project for peace and cooperation. It was designed to be a great power, a counterweight to the United States. From its economic policies to the creation of the euro, Europe had one goal: to challenge American dominance. And here's why any of that even matters. First, Europe has always resented American economic power. Second, the euro was supposed to replace the dollar as the world's top reserve currency. And third, as the US shifts its focus to Asia, the EU is desperately trying to remain relevant. So stay tuned, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why America's relationship with Europe was never as friendly as it seemed, and why Trump's words might be more accurate than people want to admit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more hard-hitting geopolitical analysis. Let's start with this. The European Union was built to compete, not to cooperate. After World War II, the US dominated the global economy. The dollar was king, American industry was unmatched, and Washington called all the shots. Europe, on the other hand, was shattered, economically weak, politically divided, and completely dependent on American security. But by the 1970s, European leaders were tired of playing second fiddle. They wanted a way to reclaim economic influence, and the answer was clear: unity. In 1993, the Maastricht Treaty officially created the European Union. And from day one, it wasn't just about cooperation. It was about power. The EU was designed to be a political and economic force that could rival the United States. And that brings us to the biggest power play of them all: the euro. You remember the euro, Europe's failed challenge to the dollar? Washington has always had one major advantage over the rest of the world. Yep, you guessed it, the US dollar. It's the world's reserve currency, which means global trade runs on American money. That gives the US massive economic leverage, control over markets, and the ability to print money without devaluing it like other countries. And most importantly, the power to impose devastating sanctions. And Europe, they've always hated that. So they created the euro. When the euro launched in 1999, European leaders believed it would dethrone the dollar. Countries would ditch US financial systems and start using European banking networks instead. The EU even pushed for oil deals to be priced in euros, hoping to undercut America's influence over global energy markets. Does that sound like a friend? But here's the problem: it didn't work. The Eurozone crisis of 2008 exposed deep flaws in the European economy. Without a strong, unified government backing it, the euro was weak, especially compared to the dollar, which had the full weight of the US military and economy behind it. Today, the euro still isn't close to replacing the dollar, and European economies remain heavily dependent on US financial stability. And that stability, that gives America the edge in the trade war that never ends. If the EU was supposed to be America's friend, you wouldn't know it by looking at their trade policies. For decades, the EU has used protectionist policies to block American companies while benefiting from US markets. From massive subsidies for European industries to endless regulations targeting American tech giants, Brussels has been actively working to undercut US economic power. Trump called this out years ago. When he slapped tariffs on European steel and threatened the German auto industry, people called him reckless. But the truth? He was the first US president in decades to push back against an EU that had been stacking the deck against America for years. And now, as the US shifts its attention to China and the Indo-Pacific, the EU is scrambling. With a stagnant economy, declining demographics, and increasing political instability, Europe needs America far more than America needs Europe. So, Washington is moving on. The world is changing, and Europe is falling behind. For decades, the EU dreamed of being a superpower that could stand toe-to-toe with the United States, but that reality has not come to pass. Its economy is sluggish, its currency is weaker than ever, and its political influence is waning. Meanwhile, the US is focused on Asia, where the real economic and military battles of the 21st century are happening. So, was Trump right? Was the EU built to screw America? Maybe not in the way he put it, but in the grand scheme of geopolitics, Europe was always going to compete with the US. The only difference is, it failed. Okay, so here we are. The world order is shifting, America is choosing its battles, and Europe is no longer at the center of the action. The question is, will the EU accept its role as a secondary power, or will it keep pushing back against America? Let us know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We're breaking down the biggest geopolitical shifts so you don't get left behind. This is Frank for America's Geopolitics. See you next time.